Lugging is the root of all evil in the universe. Too much pressure forced on a system at a time it's not meant to handle it, destroying the internals of your engine. And it's quiet. So quiet you might not even know it's happening if you're doing it or if your car does it without you knowing. Lugging, by definition, means to carry with difficulty, so keep that in mind. Say you're at 2,000 RPM in third gear and you floor it. Sure, you could downshift, but why would you? You're accelerating and saving fuel comparatively. Meanwhile, your pistons and crankshaft are lugging along, carrying the load with difficulty. And that's engine lugging, flooring it in too high of a gear, forcing the engine to stay at a low RPM under high load while it kills itself quietly. We could talk all day about what that does: knock, detonation, LSPI, and direct injection turbo engines, ringland damage, fouled plugs, carbon buildup, but this isn't a debate, it's destructive. Destructive enough that everyone overlooks the one fluid that's supposed to keep everything alive. So let's start at the piston and work down through hell. You floor it, loading the engine hard, then a large mass of air and fuel gets squeezed into the combustion chamber, the spark fires, the mixture explodes, and pressure slams the piston downward and twists the crankshaft. That exact process happens at high RPM too, but here's the difference. At low RPM under high load, each combustion event is a heavy blow, one violent hit after another. At higher RPM, that same work is spread out into many smaller blows happening rapidly, instead of a few massive hits hammering the rotating assembly. And every one of those hits has to be absorbed by everything south of the piston. Now oil enters the chat. Between the crankshaft journals and the bearings is a hydrodynamic oil film, a microscopic wedge of oil that exists because the crankshaft is spinning on top of the bearing and dragging oil between the two surfaces. That oil wedge is the only thing preventing metal from smashing into metal. When RPM is low, the crankshaft drags oil across the bearing slower. Combine that with a heavy blow it wasn't designed to handle, and that oil wedge gets squeezed thin, collapsing under stress, and the crank starts leaning directly on the bearing. The misconception is oil pressure being too low or not present, but that's false. The pressure is there and it's steady, but it won't save you. Pressure doesn't stop contact, that oil film does. At the same time, oil is responsible for pulling heat out of the pistons, rods, and crank, so your coolant temps can look normal, perfectly normal, while the internals are getting cooked and beaten with every combustion event. So in the end, you're forcing massive load through the engine at the worst possible RPM, hammering the rotating assembly, crushing the oil film, stacking heat and stress where you can't see it, all while the car stays quiet and pretends everything's fine. That's lugging. So just downshift, save your money.